The Great Pretender. Read the following text about Australian magician Paul Cosentino. Answer the questions either by writing a few words or by marking the best alternative, A, B, C, or D. Base your answers on the information in the text. Australian superstar Paul Cosentino, an admirer of the great Harry Houdini, first caught people's attention in Australia's Got Talent in 2011. At his office in the outskirts of Melbourne, he tells the story about how everything started and about the challenges he has faced along the way. It's called The Ambitious Card, and it's famous for having snookered Houdini, still considered the greatest magician of all time. I will run my thumb down the deck of cards. You call stop and pick one at random, says Cosentino, his long fingers nimbly palming a deck that's always to hand. I choose the 6 of hearts, a very ambitious card it seems, for however the deck is tumbled and shuffled and rearranged, it continues to strive for the top. Cosentino is enjoying himself hugely, my bafflement urging him on. Then he goes for the clincher. I crease my chosen card and push it deep into the middle of the pack. He clicks his fingers sharply, and my heart skips a beat. The card on top is the 4 of hearts, not the 6. Oh no, he's blown it. Composing my features, I look up to see the young magician grinning like a Cheshire cat, the 6 of hearts between his teeth. That's my little spin on it, he says, ducking his head, a trace of childhood shyness reappearing in his eyes. Like Harry Houdini, Cosentino can get out of anything. Out of straitjackets, handcuffs, leg irons, and danger. In 2010, he escaped his shackles in a shark-infested tank at the Melbourne Aquarium. But it's not Cosentino's greatest trick, nor is the one when he was straitjacketed and suspended on a burning rope above a flaming set of steel jaws. Both good, but not his greatest. Cosentino's greatest feat that opened up the world and set him on the path to being Houdini's true heir was learning to read. And the questions to be answered are, what show made Paul Cosentino famous? The trick is called the ambitious card because A, the card works its way up. B, it takes a lot of practice. C, you need sensitive hands. Or D, a full deck of cards is used. 3. What does the author mean by the phrase, he's blown it? 4. What exactly is Cosentino's final little spin on the ambitious card? Number 5. What do Cosentino and Harry Houdini have in common? Like Houdini, Cosentino A, uses fire effects, B, has a criminal record, C, performs with sharks, or D, is an escape artist. Number 6. According to the text, what did Cosentino's best trick lead to? Give 2 examples. Part 2. It's 1995 and Paul Cosentino is standing in front of his Year 7 class. He's been asked to read aloud. Oh, a fear he carries around like a brick in his stomach. But now here he is, 12 years old, and stumbling over the most basic words. Cheeks aflame, the young Cosentino returns to his seat with his self-esteem whittled back to nearly nothing. He was taken to see experts, including an optician. I was too embarrassed to say, I can see, but I can't read the alphabet. Some just ruled me out as stupid. Cosentino's difficulties turned him into a shy and introverted kid, but his mother was convinced there was nothing wrong with his intelligence. I could tell because he had the sparkle in his eyes. As a teacher, you can see that sparkle. One day, Cosentino was at the public library flipping through comic books when he found and borrowed a book about magic. I was spending all this time looking at all these old photos and cool drawings, he says. His mother started reading the instructions to him, breaking it down, analyzing the words. And Cosentino started learning to read. I had to do the learning my way, he says. Rosemary Cosentino is grateful she was shown that crack in the door. It wasn't until he discovered something he was good at and wanted to learn about that he really got going. And this happens to so many kids. They slip through the net because we don't find out what their passion is and therefore their purpose for learning. Cosentino started putting on magic shows for the family, a traditional Italian crew who today form part of his professional network. He was a sensible boy until he started eating fire, says his mother. A show on TV introduced Cosentino to the theatricality of magic, and his inner peacock came out to play. Soon he was different in a good way. All of a sudden I'm blitzing everyone at school because I'm not doing a presentation. I'm performing in the assembly hall, which I love. The Book of Magic never was returned to the library. And here are the questions. Number 7. As a young boy, what was Cosentino afraid of? Number 8. In what way did Cosentino look embarrassed in front of the class? Number 9. What misunderstandings were there about Cosentino's problem? Give 2 examples. People thought that he... Number 10. Cosentino's mother, A, thought he was quite confident. B, helped him pass difficult tests. C, made use of her job experience. D, knew he was smarter than most. 11. His mother mentions 2 keys to finding Cosentino's own motivation. Give 1 example. Number 12. What is true about Cosentino's change? A. He became a TV success. B. He found a new identity. C. He behaved better in class. Or D. He came across his role model. Part 3. Cosentino's story first came to the public's attention when he came second on Australia's Got Talent in 2011. His act, an unconventional combination of nail-biting stunts and Michael Jackson-inspired moves, was seen by 3 million people and prompted a flood of emails from fans. Suddenly he was famous. His act was still the same old meets new fusion of straitjacket escapes, card sharping, spoon bending, and water tank immersions juiced with pyrotechnics and rockstar choreography. But now, after the early years of being driven around the country by brother Adam from suburban schools to shopping centres, he was booking 5,000-seat arenas and shown a national spotlight on his chosen charity, the Australian Literacy Foundation. From the outset, Cos had decided on a signature look: cool, sophisticated, Broadway Vegas crossover. Johnny Depp meets old-school gangster Al Capone. He has his on-stage suits custom-made in Italy, but today he's dressed down in worn jeans and a sweatshirt. Dyed green strands of hair poke through a nest of dreadlocks, and 2 tiny gold rings pierce his sculpted face. At a certain age, we stop believing that the silver snail trails in the garden are made by fairies, but no one can unshackle the imagination like an escape artist can. Harry Houdini was capable of liberating himself from any number of impossible binds. Milk churns, watered cells, iron coffins, he could beat them all. In the early 1900s, the world was hungry for wonder, and he was that hope, Cos says. His claim was that nothing on earth could hold him prisoner, not chains, not locks, not people, not government, and that's a pretty powerful statement. He leans forward, eyes shining. I think my fans can see themselves in me. I represent that idea that it's possible to do things that are seemingly impossible. Also, they see that it's okay to be the odd one, and that's why I think what I do goes beyond tricks. And here are the questions. Number 13. One reason behind Cosentino's breakthrough was that he, A, worked with a famous artist. B. Won a big talent show. C. Mixed magic and dance. D. Had many followers online. 14. When it came to his tours, what changed after Cosentino got famous? Number 15. Cosentino supports a charity organization. What is their focus? A. National minorities. B. Reading and writing. C. Artistry and magic. D. Multicultural literature. 16. What is said about Cosentino's look when performing? A. He goes for vintage fashion. B. His style is casual American. C. He launches his own designs. D. His clothes are specially sewn. 17. Houdini had a fairly political message that Cosentino admires. What message? And 18. Cosentino thinks that people can identify with him. In what way? Part 4. Older brother Adam's 3-year-old son George wanders into the rehearsal space with a white silk handkerchief pressed to his eyes. It's a magic trick common enough to children. If I can't see you, you can't see me. Visiting Uncle Cos is fun, and Cos gets a lot out of it too. Even when I test the basics, he automatically assumes it's magic. The coin disappears, and he's got no other explanation. It's magic. If I show an adult the same thing, they know it is bogus and try to work out the secret. But how to keep your inner child alive in a cynical world? My profession is magic and make-believe, so if I don't make an effort to be creative, who will? The romance of the inexplicable is as strong as it ever was, says Cos. People delight in magic as much as the crowds who gasped when Houdini made a fully grown elephant disappear from a New York stage in 1918. The majority of people come to my shows wanting to be entertained and baffled, he says. But you do get people commenting on forums saying, you can't really do that, that's not real. I mean, are you kidding? I just told you that it's an illusion. I told you that it's smoke and mirrors. But the question is, was it done well? Magic is probably the most honest art form in the world. I tell you I'm going to deceive you, but that you're going to enjoy it. Magic is not intellectual, it's emotional. And in an age when computers manage the seemingly impossible in everyday life, there's a place for the flesh and blood magician. Because if you think it's real in that moment, it gives you a sense that maybe anything is possible. Here are the questions. Number 19. George likes to visit his uncle A, because they play hide and seek. B, and Cos tries his tricks on him. C, although he often gets a bit shy. Or D, but he sees through Cos's tricks. Number 20. What is true about Cosentino's shows? A, many people criticize them. B, exotic animals vanish on stage. C, he prefers old school acts. Or D, his main focus is quality. 21. According to Cosentino, a magician is completely truthful because... Number 22. What does Cosentino say about the 21st century? A, magicians turn fantasy into everyday science. B, life has become increasingly complicated. C, miracles are performed by technology. Or D, people have lost contact with their feelings. After reading the whole text, you should answer these two questions. 23. Based on this text, what two people have had the biggest influence on Cosentino? 24. What could be an alternative title for this text? A, The Price of Fame. B, Fame is Fake. C, The Road to Fame. Or D, Fame is a Mirror.